Good day everybody, my name is Daniel and I'm your instructor for today's video, and in this lesson we're going to be going through lesson 9, which is while loops, right? So let's get started. Okay, let's see. Alright, everything is good. Wait, alright, that's my code. So as usual, run your program or create your program file, new project, you know, all that good stuff. Okay, so then now you have something that looks like this. You can go ahead and just write these variables. Okay, so let's start off by what is a while loop, right? While loops are basically things that go on and on and on and on. It's like a process that keeps on running until you either tell it to stop or you let it run indefinitely. Okay, so there are two types of while loops. The first one is a while loop, and then the other one is a do while loop, right? So let's just get started with the while loop. I'm just gonna get rid of this stuff. So what basically how you declare a while loop, or how you how you state what a while loop is you'll say while. If you just type while and press tab on most IDEs, this is what you'll get. But basically this is the structure. Okay, you have while, and then you have your braces, and then after that you have your curly braces after that. So let's just leave it as true for now. Actually no, let's say while I is not equals to 10. Okay, let's say while is not equals to 10. Let's just have a print out statement, see out. Let's just say hello world. Okay, end line. So basically what's gonna happen here is that I is set to 0, right? And then while I is not equals to 10, so long as I is not yet equals to 10, please do this following. So if I run this program, what's going to happen is that it's going to run, and then you're going to end up with an infinite loop, which may crash your computer. So don't run this code, okay? Don't run this code yet. Okay, we need to have, and we need to give this while loop an instruction to say that, hey, please increment I, so that whenever this line of code runs, after this line of code runs, I gets incremented, I gets increased by 1, so that you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then after 10, or when the I gets to 10, the while loop terminates and it stops. Basically that's what happens. So what you want to do now is you're going to say I plus plus, right? This basically means add 1 to I every time you run this or you get into these braces. So what's gonna happen is that this line of code will run 9 times, 9 or 10 times. Like it's 0, so it starts at 0, so it's gonna be 10 times. Okay, so if I run this, let's see what we get. And as expected, we get hello world 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, because it starts at 0 and it ends at 9. Okay, so just a little demonstration. Let's just have more into the cout statement and say I is equals to, and then let's just add I here, right? We want to see what the value of I is actually. So let's run that, and as you can see, it'll say hello world I is equals to 0. The next line, I is equals to 1, I equals to 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way till 9. So this line of code here is basically the magic trick. It tells the computer that, hey, please keep incrementing I, and then this line here at the top basically tells the computer that only run this while loop only if I is not equals to 10. So once it gets to 10, everything stops. Okay, you can have different ways of setting your true statement here. You can say I, so long as I, while I is smaller than 4. If I is smaller than 4, keep running this code. Okay, so let's see. There we go. So I is equals to 0, I is equals to 1, 2, 3, and all that, but it never gets to 4 because this condition gets met after the I gets to 3. when it's about to get to 4, when I get set to 4, or I get set to 4, this command runs, and then it says, oh no, I is now set to 4, so we cannot run this. It exits out of the while loop. That's basically how the statement works. Okay, so like I said, there are two ways of declaring while loops. So another way is a do while. So if you say do, you get do, and then you get your braces here, and then you have while, and then your truth statement. This basically work the same way. The only thing is that this one will start with the code first. The code will run first, and then it checks its it checks the truth statement afterwards. So basically this one will check the statement first. Does this is the truth statement true? If it is true, then well, if it's not true, then this will run, but then if it's true, then it won't run. Whereas this one, basically what happens is that it will execute the code first and then check the conditions afterwards. So it's basically the same thing. It really is the same thing. It just depends whether you want to do your or run your statement first, or you want to run your statement after the condition is met or not met. Okay, so I'm not going to delve too much into the do while, but you can read more about it if you're interested. So that's just a very simple example. Yeah. So okay, let me just have one more example. Actually, let me just use the do while loop. Let's just say we wanna increase money, our bank account, but before that we wanna say your money account is equals to, and then we'll say money, right? And I'll just have an end line statement there, and then we'll increase our money. So we'll just say money plus equals to, we're going to keep adding 30 bucks to our money, and then we're going to do this while j is not equals to 10. Okay, so we only want to do this about 10 times, and we're going to have to increment j. So we're going to say j plus plus. So we're going to add to j, and then as long as j is not 10, we're going to keep running this code. So it's going to start executing it first though. So money will be added by 30, and then the j will be incremented. Okay, so these may be your differences between how many loops happen. It might be 9, might be 10, or might be 11, depending on how you structure your code, right? So you always need to be wary of that. So here, as you can see, I'm adding 30 to my money of 20. My money was initially set to 20, and I'm basically setting 30 to the money variable. So as you can see, we have 20. It starts off with 20, and the reason it starts off with 20 is because if you look, the C out statement gets ran first. So it says your money is 20, and then this amount is then added. 30 is then added to money, and then when it goes over to the next loop cycle, this code runs again, now with the updated figure, which is now 50, right? And then it goes on and on and on and on until j is not equals to 10. And by the way, you can also change this. You don't have to keep incrementing by 1. You can increment by 3 or by 5 or by any value. If I increment this by 2, plus equals to 2, right? So by the way, this basically just means j is equals to j plus 2, if you don't know. So if I run this, then basically what's happening? Okay, okay, I don't know what happened, but here we go. So basically it's just gonna so if obviously this line of code basically ensures that j gets to its destination twice as fast as just incrementing it by 1. So it's gonna go j is equals to 2, j is equals to 4, j is equals to 6, and j is equals to 10. So that's why you have half of the C out statements that you see here, that you saw in as compared to the ones that you saw in the last program that we ran. So guys, this is basically loops in a nutshell. You can end the video here, and you can go on to the next lesson. but for demonstration purposes, and if you are using a study guide, we're gonna go into the actual program code that was enlisted in your study guide. Okay, so I'm gonna clear all of this stuff, right? And we're gonna get the main activity, which is all the way over here. I'm gonna put it here, and then the main activity program that we need to do, this is the little task that we need to do, is write a program that lets the user insert prices of items in the grocery store. So say the user's shopping and they insert items into the cart. So now that's an item added into the cart. So basically, the more the items that the user adds into the basket, that means the more the price gets updated, right? The program needs to have a VAT rate, so we need to calculate the amount of VAT per product. And as you know, the VAT standard rate is 15%. So after the user inserts all the values into the grocery cart, we now calculate the VAT rate, the VAT amount, and we update and we display the information to the user. So this is a program that we once did before. If you are following these lessons according in a linear fashion, you will realize that we once did this, but the only difference is that in that program we only had 3 prices. So this one we want to make it dynamic, and that's where the while loop shines. Okay, so let's just declare all our variables. First things first, we're going to have a const float VAT rate, right? And we're going to equals this to 0.15 because it's a percentage. Okay, and then we're going to declare float total. I'm just gonna say 0, what is it, sorry, comma, VAT amount is equals to 0. I just want to initiate these values. Total, okay, I'm just gonna copy these. All right, what else? Total VAT amount included, and I'm gonna say this is 0. The reason we have an error is because we have a semicolon instead of a comma right there, and basically that's it. Okay, so these are all my variables that I'm going to use. Another one will be float price. Actually, let's just make it have initialize it to 0. Yes, so now let's start. All right, so what are we going to do now? So we want to have a while loop that allows, so we're going to keep prompting the user, hey, please insert a price of the item that you just picked up. And so long as the price is not 0, so we're going to only exit the while loop whenever the price is set to 0.0. If the user sets the price to 0.0, then we break out of the loop. Okay, so we're going to say, and I'll teach you another trick right now, while true, but instead of true, well, actually while true. So we're just going to keep running this loop. We're only going to check the conditioning inside of the while loop, and we're going to break away from the while loop inside. So that's another way of breaking out of a loop. It doesn't always just needs to match the truth statement for it to break out of the loop. You can forcefully break out of this loop, this while loop, inside of the while loop itself, and I'll demonstrate that. So we basically are prompting the user to insert prices. So we're going to say cout insert your price of the item. Okay, and line. So okay, it starts off by saying insert the price of the item, and then we're going to take in the user's input, in, we're going to say whatever user inserts, that's the float, that's the price of the item. Okay, so as soon as they insert the price of the item, what we want to do is that we want to have a condition that checks if the user's price is not 0.0, right? Now we're going to say if, I'm going to write an if statement. If you remember what if statements are, if price is equals to 0.00, then we need to break away from this loop. We're terminating the program, or terminating the while loop, and then we're going to display our results. Okay, so we're going to say break, and after that we're going to start printing out everything else. Actually, we need to run our calculations first, but yes, okay, let's run our calculations. So let's run our calculations. So how do we run our calculations? We need to add to the total first. So I'm going to say total plus equals to the price. So the price gets added to the total, and then we need to calculate our VAT. Okay, so the VAT amount is equals to the VAT rate multiplied by the total. Say we're done adding the prices to the total, and then after that we're gonna say the total amount included with VAT. Okay, included, I made a mistake. Included, okay. Total amount with VAT included is equals to the VAT amount, right, plus the total. Just checking if I did everything correctly. That makes sense. Okay, I'll just explain in a second if you guys don't get what I'm doing. And then after that that's basically it. So okay, so what's happening here is that this loop is going to start by running, right? It says while true, so it's just going to keep running indefinitely, right? So but when it runs, we output, okay, insert the price of your item. The user inserts a price, maybe 15 or 20 or whatever, and then because the price is not 0, it's 15, it goes over here. It says now 15 gets added to the total, and then from the total we calculate using the VAT rate, we calculate the VAT amount, and then we have the total amount with the VAT included, right? So now that's the total amount. But if in the next iteration, if the user now inserts a price of 0, just to symbolize that they're done inserting items, then the entire loop will break, and whatever these values have before the current iteration will be the values that I have in the actual variables, and basically it will break here and then it won't continue on with these calculations. So basically it won't add the 0 to the rest of the calculations. So now you can actually print out print the values. So we can say cout the total price, the total amount without VAT is, and we're gonna say total, and we're gonna say the total amount with VAT included. Oh, actually let me just say the VAT amount is, we'll say that's the VAT amount, and lastly we'll have the actual total amount that the user needs to pay, the amount you need to pay is, and that's this amount over here. Okay, so basically that's it. Okay, let me run this and I'll add a little something. So now that's the program. It says insert the price of your item. So this is the while loop in action. So I'm just gonna say 30, insert the price of your item. I'm gonna say 30, insert the price of your item, maybe 10, and okay, I'm done. You know, I have 3 items. I'm just gonna say 0.00, insert, and then that's it. It finalizes. Okay, I didn't actually do some formatting here, so let me just do that so that you can see. I'm just gonna add some end line statements here. Okay, let's run that again. Price maybe 20, maybe 30, maybe 4, and maybe 0.00 because I'm done. And then there we go. It says the total amount without VAT is 58. The VAT amount is 8.7 Rand. The amount that you need to pay for is basically 66.7, which is a 58 plus 8.7 will give you 66.7. Wait, what? Oh yes, actually that's it. It's 58 times 15%. That's the total amount that you need to add. Now if that's basically it. Maybe you want to keep track of how many items that you have in the cart, we can just add a count here. I'll say int count, right, for instance, and whenever an item is added, we'll just increment count. I'll say count incremented, and then we'll say you have how many items in your cart. I'll just say print this, you have how many items in your cart, and we'll just have in the count here. My phone is ringing. Okay, yes, count is equals to 0, and let's run that. Let's just add maybe 2 items, 34 and 56 and 0.00, enter, and there we go. How many items you have in your cart? It's 2. Total amount, the total amount without VAT is 90, 56 plus 34 is 90, VAT amount is 13.5, and the total amount that you need to pay for is 103.5 cents. So that's basically a small program that uses a while loop to demonstrate. And the reason I went through and did all of this stuff and added counts and prices and all that is because you should expect something like this when you're tested in test assignments and examinations. Yeah, that's basically it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Peace.